Drew Brees back with us. Great to be. Have you met Carson Wentz before?
Yeah. We actually threw a little bit together during the summertime before the season started.
How many
so I had a
people?
chance to meet him there.
Just you and him, or other quarterbacks?
No. There was we had a group actually out in San Diego. So some of my guys, some of his guys, and we're kind of on separate sides of the field, but had a chance to chat with him a little bit and watch him throw.
How much information is shared with quarterbacks?
Some. Some, not a lot. I do think there's a level of, I think for guys that maybe veteran guys, it's a little less, just because there's maybe a higher level of competition.
But you and Brady wouldn't share.
I mean, like to a degree. I mean, I think there's a friendship there. There's a maybe sharing of ideas, training techniques, that kind of stuff. But as far as just philosophy or stuff that might cause take away from your competitive advantage, I think that stuff gets held pretty close to the vest.
You look at these guys. Carson Wentz comes in, Dak Prescott comes in, Jared Goff comes in. I mean, they're all 6'5", 6'4", big guys.
Yeah.
They all played well, aside from Carson playing in the gun. Everybody's throwing 30 times a game or 35. You go back and think what you were like when you were Carson Wentz's age, of maybe what you didn't know. If you could go back and talk to that Drew Brees, what would you say to that guy?
These guys are so much more prepared now than ever before, especially, I mean, when I first came in the league. And listen, I came from a spread offense where when we had to read coverage, we were getting in and out of plays. We were doing some things that maybe were before its time a little bit. I mean, we kind of took that offense to the Big Ten, and so I felt like we were progressive.
Yeah.
And yet when I got to the NFL, it was a whole new world. Not just the speed of the game and the tempo and the quality of talent that you're going up against, but the system itself, and now being under center and having to take 7-step drops, not being in the gun, having to mic ID and change protections and do like that. That stuff was foreign, and it definitely took a while to get to the point where I was comfortable with that. Guys nowadays, and whether it's the evolution of all the 7-on-7 stuff, so just more reps, more time on task, or I think it's there's a lot of carryover, or a lot of NFL coaches are going to college and then coming back. So I think the schemes and the systems and the things that people are doing in the NFL, they're doing in college now as well. So when you come, maybe it's not as much of an adjustment. Guys are required to be responsible for more in college now at the quarterback position than ever before. Therefore, they're coming in more prepared.
But explain to me, when you go to line of scrimmage, you see a defense, you've already called something, and then you change.
Yeah.
But then the defense changes its alignment.
Yeah.
What do you do?
It's a lot harder for them to change their alignment than for you just to change your play. But if they do, then you have options. Sometimes you can keep that play on because it still might look good against what they're doing, or you can reload back to the original play, or you can get to something else.
How many dummy calls do you have, though?
Well, quite a few.
Like per game, how many do you think you do?
I don't know, maybe a quarter of the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Is your voice different, though? Like, do you analyze how you call?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a tell?
Yeah. No, I mean, I try not to. I mean, I study that. I mean, I try to make everything look the same, be consistent.
Is there a defensive player that you just, I forget who it was who said, Zach Tom, Peyton Manning said, it didn't matter what I did, Zach Thomas.
Yeah.
He'd just go, damn it, he knows what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, Peyton would call the play, and then he'd change it, and Zach go, look out for the screen, it's a screen. And then you go, I got the screen. You have one of those guys?
Luke Kuechly's like that.
Oh, he is.
From Carolina. Yeah, he'll call out the play before you run it.
And what do you do?
You say, well, I hope we block that guy.
Can you stick around?
Yeah.
Okay. The full introduction, by the way, is Drew is partnering with Chevron, the official sponsor of the Houston Super Bowl host committee. We'll talk about that. We'll get the plug in for that. Also talk to him just how great this Atlanta offense is. Speaking of a future Hall of Famer, what he saw with his Atlanta offense. And, the whole Belichick takes away your best option. So as a quarterback, what would you do if you're facing that New England defense? The numbers are staggering: 66,000 yards, 465 touchdowns, and no signs of slowing down, considering he threw for 37 touchdowns, 5,200 yards this year. The St. Stu Brees joining us. Mention you're working with Chevron. Let me get the plug out of the way and tell us what you're doing with the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so Chevron is part of the one of the sponsors for the host committee here in Houston, which Houston's doing a great job, by the way, thus far this week. Chevron has supported programs around the world that focus on STEM education, so technology, science, engineering, and math. And I think it's a great avenue for kids that's inspiring them to get involved kind of behind the scenes with sports and events like the Super Bowl. I mean, so much focus when you think about Super Bowls put on the players on the field, but think about all the technology aspects that go into really bringing the Super Bowl to life and making it what it is, and just the fact there's so many opportunities out there for young people to get involved into STEM education that could be great career paths for them as they move forward, and Chevron is doing a great job with supporting those programs.
For more information how Chevron uses sports to inspire the leaders of tomorrow, go to chevronstemzone.com. Do your kids, are they old enough to be in fantasy football?
No, but they play it nonstop, though. That's all they want to do.
But do they draft you? I mean, are you their favorite quarterback?
No.
Yeah.
Cam Newton?
But I feel like that's on purpose, though. You know, it's almost like they know how to dig at Dad a little bit. You know, so they've cheered for Cam Newton before. They like Dak Prescott now, coming off the Pro Bowl. So they're big Dak fans. My oldest son loves Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham went to Newman High School in New Orleans, and that's where all three of my boys go. They go to Newman. So they've got this, somehow this kinship now, this connection. So my oldest wants to be Odell. So he naturally needs a quarterback to throw to him. So my middle son, coming off the Pro Bowl, is now Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of Dak Prescott to Odell Beckham Jr. in the Brees household going on right now.
How would they feel if you all of a sudden started supporting other kids in the neighborhood instead of your own?
See,
like you started cheering for them.
That's the threat that my wife puts on them every day. The funny part is so we'll sit there and another thing, it's like a curse. So Odell Beckham makes this SB catch, right? So all my kids want to do is catch the ball one-handed. They think that's routine, like that's how you do it. I'm like, guys, let's master the two-handed catch.
Yeah.
And then we can evolve to the one-handed, right?
Yeah.
But no. So they're like, Dad, throw me a one-handed. So I'll throw it, right here, right where they want it, right? And it bounces off their head. It's like, Dad.
Like they blame you?
Dad, you're the worst thrower, Dad. And my wife comes out of the kitchen. Your father does this for a living. He works so hard, and it's.
I like
it's
that
awesome.
Your wife has to have your back with your kid.
Totally. I just kind of throw my hands up in the air.
Did you see Pat McAfee was retiring?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee, the punter?
Yeah. He retired last night.
Really?
At age 29.
What was the reason?
He's going to join Barstool Sports. He's going to join us in 5 minutes from now to talk about it. He retired.
Is this a joke or is this serious?
No, he told the Colts. He turned in. He's signed his papers.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
The league has lost a great personality.
That's true, and a great punter.
A great punter, yeah.
But could you ever see, just wake up one morning and you say, "Hon, that's it"?
I mean, I think there would have to be an event. I mean, something that
But does somebody have to tell you
wake up.
that you're done, or will you know when you're done?
I think I'll know. I think I will know.
What would tell you you're done?
When you don't enjoy the training process or the preparation anymore.
And that's what I always wanted to know. If I'm looking at a quarterback, I want to know how much you love the game, how much you want to be great.
Yeah.
How much you got to be diving in to be a student. And that was the difference between Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning, in my opinion. They both had the physical talent.
Yeah.
Peyton just ate up the game. He absorbed it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you can figure that out. If I'm looking at Deshaun Watson, I know he carved up Alabama. I don't know how I can find out if he really loves the game and wants to be great. Can you find that out before you draft somebody?
I think you can. I think you can by talking to those closest to him that observe him on a daily basis. Because to your point, what makes the player great is not the physical attributes. It's the fire that burns within. It's that competitive nature. It's the chip on the shoulder. It's the something to prove. And it's having a purpose, like having a great, like it, to kind of elaborate on what I said earlier about why I feel, or when I feel like it'll be time, is as long as I feel like I have a purpose for playing, like, and I have a challenge to be met, a goal to strive for, then there's a passion to play the game. Without that, I don't think it's anymore.
Could you ever see a scenario where you don't finish your career in New Orleans?
I don't.
Would you retire would you quit if there was any possibility that they were going to say?
No, I mean, if the Saints came to me right now and said, "Hey, you're not our guy anymore, we're releasing you," I'd be like, "Nah, I still got football left in me, so I'm gonna."
Oh, you'd go play someplace.
Yeah, I'd go play if they let me go right now. but no, I mean,
Paulie, would you check and see if the Saints still want?
I don't ever desire to go anywhere else and play for any other team.
You did give us one of the great moments in show history, certainly at the Super Bowl in New York, when you got up on the desk. And remember you?
Oh yeah.
Jimmy Graham.
Yeah. And there we are. Let's see this again.
Yeah, here we go.
Full suit and all.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Because I said, do you love Jimmy Graham? Do you want Jimmy Graham?
That was in New York, wasn't it?
Yeah. We had a brownstone that we built, and then you got up on the desk, and you were like, I love Jimmy Graham, and then he left you.
Well, that wasn't something he wanted. I got to reunite with him and Sproles at the Pro Bowl last week, though. That was one of the big reasons I went was to be with those guys.
You've had a few weapons there, but they just don't stay long enough for you.
I think we had a ton of consistency. When I think from 06 to like 13,
yeah.
I mean, our receiver core was the same. Marcus Colston, Lance Moore, Devery Henderson, Robert Meacham. Jimmy comes along. Jimmy was with us for 5 years. I mean, would have loved to have had a few more with him.
Yeah.
Sproles would have loved to have a few more with him.
I love Sproles.
Listen, Sproles is the greatest. One of the most underrated players there is. Locker room guy. I mean, he's the consummate teammate, consummate pro.
Love watching him play. Love watching him play.
Philly fans are lucky.
But every time I see him, I go, how did that team get rid of him? Or like you just watch him and you go, he's a difference maker. He's a game breaker.
He's a once-in-a-lifetime player, in my opinion, yes.
I was going to ask you this before I let you go. Drew Brees joining us. Bill Belichick loves to take away your best weapon. So if you're Matt Ryan and you know Julio Jones is going to be double covered, I'm going to guess, do you expect double coverage with Julio Jones?
Yeah, I mean, in certain situations, yes. The problem is when you play the Falcons, literally if you look at the hit chart, right? I mean, defensive coordinators are all going to pull up and say, all right, who are they throwing to and when are they throwing to them?
Yeah.
Third down, red zone, these guys are, all over. I mean, they got 6 or 7 guys. Most teams are these 2 guys. These 2 guys are their third down guys. These 2 guys are their red zone guys. If we can take these guys away, gives us a better chance to win. The Falcons have 7 guys on there, so you can't possibly double 7 guys. So you just have to pick and choose. I think they mix it up. New England, I think that they just try to keep Atlanta off balance with who they're doubling and when they're and just play the situation a little bit. I mean, I'm sure that they're doing their studies and they probably feel like, hey, we're gonna play certain situations a different way. But at the end of the day, Atlanta is very difficult to pin down when it comes to that.
Is Brady the best quarterback of all time?
Probably. I mean, I think obviously if they win and he's a 5-time Super Bowl champion, I don't think you could argue that.
What if he loses?
He's still one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. 14 division championships, 11 AFC championships, 7 Super Bowls. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The model of consistency in an era of football where that is extremely difficult to do. And I know it's not just him, but he is a huge part of that. I think with the quarterback position, every era kind of stands alone, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think it's very hard to sit and say that this quarterback was better than this quarterback because they face different circumstances, they face different challenges. So I think you can take certain eras of football and be like, Otto Graham.
Yeah.
Can you argue that guy's resume?
Oh, I know.
Right? What, he won 10 NFL championships?
Yeah.
In 11 years or something like that.
Yeah, it's like Bill Russell.
Yeah, and Fran Tarkentons and the Joe Montanas and the Marinos and the Elways, and I mean, the list goes on. But each era, I think, kind of stands alone. And there's just this group that you'd say, man, these guys, the best of the best.
Could you beat Brady in a 40-yard dash?
I could.
You could. You would own him?
Yeah. That's the one thing I could guarantee I could beat him at.
Drew Brees joining us on behalf of Chevron. You can see how Chevron uses sports to inspire the leaders of tomorrow. Go to chevronstemzone.com. We got barbecue, if you want some barbecue.
I saw that, and I saw this grill
Traeger
back here.
grill.
Yeah.
I'm going to hook you up with a Traeger grill.
Are you?
I'm going to send it to the house in New Orleans.
That. Yeah.
And you're going to be the cool dad in the neighborhood. Your kids are going to like you after this. Yeah.
I'm a Texas guy, so I know a little barbecue here.
This guy over here who's going to cook you, he's a champion grill. He comes with the grill. Like, I send him to your house.
Would you? Is that a grill master? Is it a grill master title?
Chad is a grill master.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got barbecue there for you, and I'm going to send you the Traeger grill.
I'm all about it. I appreciate that.
He is the Drew Brees of smokers.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's how good he is.
I love it.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.